I never thought I'd find secrets in the home we shared. But when I opened that old drawer, I found letters my late wife had hidden from me, and one of them had a red stain. I had been cleaning the study for hours. The house was quiet, quieter than it had ever been. Since she passed, every corner of this home felt empty. Her laughter, her presence, the little hum she made when she walked from room to room, it was all gone. And yet, in the silence, I could almost hear her. I moved slowly, touching the objects she had left behind. Her favorite pen lay on the desk, slightly worn at the tip. A notebook, filled with her neat handwriting, sat stacked neatly beside it. Her glasses rested on top of the pile, like she had just taken them off moments ago, ready to return. I picked up the pen. My fingers traced the smooth metal, and I felt a pang of longing. I could almost hear her saying, "Be careful with that. It's my favorite." I set it down gently. The house was quiet, and yet it didn't feel like my own. Everything reminded me of her. Every picture frame, every corner of the kitchen, every little item I had once ignored now carried weight. And then I noticed something unusual. It was a small drawer, hidden behind the shelf in her study. I had passed this shelf 1,000 times, but somehow I never saw it before. My curiosity pricked at me. Why had I never noticed it? My hands hovered over it, hesitating. There was a faint groove where I could pull it open. I did. The drawer slid out with a faint creak, revealing something I could never have expected. Inside were letters, dozens of them, tied together with a faded ribbon. The paper was yellowed with age, delicate under my fingers, and one letter, on the top, had a red stain at the corner. I froze. My heart skipped a beat. Was it blood? Ink? I didn't know, but I felt a shiver run down my spine. I picked up the top letter carefully. Her handwriting, unmistakable, stared back at me. Every curve, every loop, every flourish.
Before we begin, if you enjoy stories that touch the heart and remind us of life's quiet miracles, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It truly helps our little storytelling family grow.
Made my chest ache. I wanted to open it. I wanted to read what she had written. And yet, a part of me hesitated. Finally, I unfolded it. Her words were gentle, familiar. I could almost hear her voice, soft and reassuring, whispering in my ear. "My love," it began. "If you are reading this, then I am no longer by your side. But know that I have loved you every single day, even in ways I never said aloud." My hands trembled as I read. The first few lines were filled with love, reminders of small, everyday things we shared. The way I made tea in the mornings, the silly arguments over what to watch on TV, the way she laughed when I tried to dance in the living room. I smiled, despite the tears that had already begun to form. It was her. She was here, speaking to me through paper, reminding me that love doesn't die. It lingers, quietly, patiently, even in absence. I read further, and then my eyes fell upon the next lines, the ones that made my heart stop. "There are things I have carried alone," she wrote. "Things I never told you because I wanted to protect you, to protect us, but now, you deserve to know." I swallowed hard. My hands shook. Secrets? She had secrets? My mind raced. She had always been so open with me. Had I missed something? I took a deep breath and continued reading. The letter revealed small fears at first. Times she had worried about me. Times she had stayed awake because she didn't want me to feel burdened. And then, the part that made me pause. "I am sorry for the pain I kept from you. One day, I hope you will understand." I didn't know what to feel. Anger? Confusion? Sadness? All of it wrapped itself around my heart. I held the letter closer. The red stain at the corner caught my eye again. I couldn't tell what it was, but it seemed deliberate. I turned my gaze to the rest of the drawer. There were more letters, each tied with the same faded ribbon. A stack of memories. A stack of confessions, a stack of love. And I realized then, I was about to uncover a part of my wife I had never known. A part she had hidden from me. And yet, in that moment, I felt a strange sense of connection, closer to her than I had been since she passed. I picked up the next letter. The handwriting was familiar, yet there was a new urgency in it. Her words seemed almost alive. If only I could speak these words to you in person, she wrote. But I must leave them here, for you to find when the time is right. I paused. The house was silent. My heart was racing. I had never felt so close to someone who was no longer there, and yet, so far from understanding everything she had left behind. I knew, as I opened the next letter, that nothing in my life would ever feel the same again, because hidden in this drawer were not just letters. They were a map to her heart, her fears, her secrets, and her love. And the first letter, with its red stain, was only the beginning. I picked up the second letter. Its edges were worn, the paper soft from time, but her handwriting was still perfectly clear. Every loop and curve carried the warmth of her presence. My love, it began. Today I watched you in the garden, planting those small daisies you adore. I smiled to myself, thinking of how patient you are, even when the soil gets messy and the sun is too hot. I love that about you. I chuckled softly. I could see her, sitting by the window, watching me without me knowing. Her attention to little details, the way she noticed even the smallest gestures. This was her love. Gentle, steady, and deeply observing. The letter continued. Remember that time you tried to dance in the kitchen? I couldn't stop laughing. You tripped over your own feet, and yet you smiled at me as if it were a grand performance. I love you even more for that. Even in clumsiness, you bring joy into my life. I could feel tears building in my eyes. She remembered things I had long forgotten. Moments that seemed insignificant at the time now glowed with meaning. I set the letter down for a moment and let my mind drift back to those days. I remembered how she would hum softly while cooking, how she always left little notes in my briefcase, and how her laughter could fill the entire house even when I was grumpy. She had been the heartbeat of our home, and I had taken it for granted. When I returned to the letter, I noticed the tone shifting slightly. Her words became more introspective. There are times I wish I could speak my heart to you more clearly. I hold things inside sometimes, not because I want to hide them, but because I don't want to burden you. You've carried enough in your life already, and I wanted our love to remain a safe haven. Her thoughtfulness was overwhelming. Even in her silence, she had always been protecting me. I thought back to our arguments, small ones, trivial ones, where I had felt frustrated or unheard. Now, reading these letters, I realized how much of her love had gone unspoken, quietly shaping our lives. I unfolded the third letter, the one that had a faint crease at the corner. She had written in a slightly smaller script here, almost like a whisper. I hope you remember the mornings we shared coffee together, the way the sunlight would fall through the kitchen window. I watched you, my love, and felt peace. Those moments, they were my sanctuary. I ran my fingers over the words, imagining her sitting across from me, her eyes soft and gentle, a hint of a smile on her lips. She had made my ordinary life extraordinary simply by noticing it. And yet, there was a subtle change. Between her reminders of love, there were small hints of sadness, almost imperceptible, like a shadow stretching across a bright room. She wrote of days when she had felt lonely, of nights when she had worried about me, and of moments she had wanted to say more but couldn't. I realized then that these letters were more than memories. They were her heart speaking to me in the only way she could now. I have carried worries for both of us, one line read. I wanted to shield you from them. I didn't want our life to be clouded by burdens. Please understand that everything I did, every silence I held, was out of love. Her love felt endless. Every line reminded me of the depth of her care, of the small sacrifices she had made, and of the tender attention she had always paid to the details of our life together. As I reached the fourth letter, I noticed a slight tear at the edge, as if she had paused while writing. The words were more urgent, more heartfelt. I hope you can forgive me for the times I was distant. It was never for lack of love. Sometimes, the weight of things I carried alone kept me quiet. I never wanted you to feel the burden of my fears. Her words were like a soft hand on my shoulder. I felt a mixture of sorrow and gratitude. She had given me love in silence, shielding me even when it meant carrying her own pain. I could feel the suspense building in me. I had read of her love, her humor, her quiet admiration, but now there was a sense that something more lay hidden. I could feel it between the lines. The letters were leading me somewhere. And then I saw it. At the bottom of one letter, almost like an afterthought, a faint line in smaller handwriting. There are things I have never told you, things I hope you can understand one day. They are my burdens, and they are also my truth. My heart began to pound. The red-stained letter, the first one, was calling to me now in my mind. These words hinted at something deeper, something she had kept from me not out of mistrust, but out of love and protection. I picked up the red-stained letter again. My hands were shaking slightly. I could see now that this wasn't just a letter, it was a doorway. A doorway into the part of her life I had never known. I could feel the tension building in the room. The letters weren't just memories. They were her heart speaking to me in the only way she could now. I have carried worries for both of us. One line read, I wanted to shield you from them. I didn't want our life to be clouded by burdens. Please understand that everything I did, every silence I held, was out of love. Her love felt endless. Every line reminded me of the depth of her care, of the small sacrifices she had made, and of the tender attention she had always paid to the details of our life together. As I reached the fourth letter, I noticed a slight tear at the edge, as if she had paused while writing. The words were more urgent, more heartfelt. I hope you can forgive me for the times I was distant. It was never for lack of love. Sometimes, the weight of things I carried alone kept me quiet. I never wanted you to feel the burden of my fears. Her words were like a soft hand on my shoulder. I felt a mixture of sorrow and gratitude. She had given me love in silence, shielding me even when it meant carrying her own pain. I could feel the suspense building in me. I had read of her love, her humor, her quiet admiration, but now there was a sense that something more lay hidden. I could feel it between the lines. The letters were leading me somewhere. And then I saw it. At the bottom of one letter, almost like an afterthought, a faint line in smaller handwriting. There are things I have never told you, things I hope you can understand one day. They are my burdens, and they are also my truth. My heart began to pound. The red-stained letter, the first one, was calling to me now in my mind. These words hinted at something deeper, something she had kept from me not out of mistrust, but out of love and protection. I picked up the red-stained letter again. My hands were shaking slightly. I could see now that this wasn't just a letter, it was a doorway. A doorway into the part of her life I had never known. I could feel the tension building in the room. The letters weren't just memories. They were secrets waiting to be revealed. And I knew, deep down, that my life would never be the same once I continued reading. I took a deep breath and prepared myself for what was to come. I am ready, I whispered to the empty room. I am ready to know everything. The study felt quieter now, if that was possible. The sunlight through the window seemed softer, the air heavier, filled with anticipation. The next letter would reveal her hidden pains, the struggles she endured alone, and the secret she had carried all these years. And I was about to discover a part of her heart that she had never shared until now. I took a deep breath and reached for the red-stained letter. My hands were trembling slightly. There was something in the air, a mix of anticipation, fear, and curiosity. I didn't know what I would find inside, but I knew it would change everything. I unfolded the letter slowly. The red stain caught my eye again, this time more vividly. It was faded, yet deliberate, as if marking something important. I traced it with my finger, almost afraid of what it might mean. Her handwriting was the same, familiar, gentle, but the words carried a weight I hadn't felt in the previous letters. She wrote of times she had endured silently, the moments of fear she never spoke of, the pain she kept hidden. My love, it began. There are things I've carried alone, things I've never told you because I wanted to protect you. I didn't want to burden you with my fears, but now, I feel you deserve to know. I swallowed hard. My heart was racing. I had always known she had a strong spirit, but reading her words now, I realized just how much she had carried in silence. She described nights when she felt afraid for our future, times when she had struggled with her own health, and moments when she had worried about family she couldn't talk about. Each line was honest, raw, and deeply moving. "I have made mistakes," she wrote. "Some small, some large, and I am sorry for keeping them from you. I wanted to protect us, to keep our life as peaceful as possible." I felt a lump in my throat. She had always been selfless, always putting my happiness and the family's well-being above her own. And now, even in her absence, she was still shielding me from pain. As I read on, I noticed a shift in her tone. Her words became more urgent, almost pleading. She hinted at something that had happened long ago, something she had never revealed to anyone. "There is a truth I have carried for years," she wrote. "I never spoke of it because I feared it would change how you saw me, but I hope, in time, you will understand. My love for you has never wavered." My hands shook. What could it be? My mind raced with possibilities. She had never spoken of anything that could come between us, had she? She continued, describing how she had faced situations alone, moments when she had been scared, uncertain, and vulnerable. And through it all, she had kept a brave face, maintaining the life we shared without letting me see her struggle. "I wanted to protect you from my fears," she wrote again. "But now, as I leave these words for you, I hope they bring understanding, not pain. You deserve to know who I truly was and why I made the choices I did." I could feel the tension building inside me. Each word drew me closer to a revelation I wasn't prepared for. The red stain seemed to mark the most important part of the letter. I leaned in, reading every line carefully. And then I saw it, a reference to someone or something that she had never mentioned before. "There is someone I helped, someone I loved in a way you would never know," she wrote. "I kept it hidden because I wanted to protect you, to protect them. But you must know, my heart has always been yours." My chest tightened. Who could she mean? A child? A family member? A friend? The letter didn't say directly, but the weight of it pressed down on me. I felt a mix of curiosity, fear, and awe. I set the letter down. "From you. I wanted to protect us, to keep our life as peaceful as possible." I felt a lump in my throat. She had always been selfless, always putting my happiness and the family's well-being above her own. And now, even in her absence, she was still shielding me from pain. As I read on, I noticed a shift in her tone. Her words became more urgent, almost pleading. She hinted at something that had happened long ago, something she had never revealed to anyone. "There is a truth I have carried for years," she wrote. "I never spoke of it because I feared it would change how you saw me, but I hope, in time, you will understand. My love for you has never wavered." My hands shook. What could it be? My mind raced with possibilities. She had never spoken of anything that could come between us, had she? She continued, describing how she had faced situations alone, moments when she had been scared, uncertain, and vulnerable. And through it all, she had kept a brave face, maintaining the life we shared without letting me see her struggle. "I wanted to protect you from my fears," she wrote again. "But now, as I leave these words for you, I hope they bring understanding, not pain. You deserve to know who I truly was and why I made the choices I did." I could feel the tension building inside me. Each word drew me closer to a revelation I wasn't prepared for. The red stain seemed to mark the most important part of the letter. I leaned in, reading every line carefully. And then I saw it, a reference to someone or something that she had never mentioned before. "There is someone I helped, someone I loved in a way you would never know," she wrote. "I kept it hidden because I wanted to protect you, to protect them. But you must know, my heart has always been yours." My chest tightened. Who could she mean? A child? A family member? A friend? The letter didn't say directly, but the weight of it pressed down on me. I felt a mix of curiosity, fear, and awe. I set the letter down. For a moment, trying to process it. She had carried this secret alone, not to deceive me, but to protect those she loved and me. I could feel her presence in the room, quiet, patient, watching me understand the depth of her love. The letter continued with her reflections on life, love, and the choices she had made. She spoke of regrets, Yes, but also of pride in the life we had shared, the family we had built, and the love we had nurtured together. I hope that one day, when you read these words, you will see that my love for you was always honest, she wrote. Even in silence, even in secrecy, I loved you more than anything. Tears blurred my vision. I could hardly breathe. I had never imagined that she had been carrying so much, so quietly, for so long. The red-stained letter was no longer just a letter. It was a testament to her courage, her love, and her selflessness. I picked it up again, reading the final lines. Please do not be angry at the things I hid. They were never meant to hurt you. They were my way of keeping our love safe, even when it meant carrying a burden alone. I felt a mixture of sorrow and gratitude. Sorrow for the pain she had endured silently. Gratitude for the love she had given so freely, even while carrying such weight. And then I noticed something tucked inside the letter, folded carefully. My hands trembled as I opened it. It was a small photo. A photograph of her, smiling, radiant, holding the hand of a little girl I had never seen before. My heart stopped. Who was this child? My mind raced. The letter had hinted at someone she had loved and protected, someone she had kept hidden from me. And now, the photo was proof that this part of her life had existed all along. I stared at it for a long time, feeling a swirl of emotions I couldn't name. Shock, curiosity, awe, and an overwhelming sense of love. She had carried this secret not to deceive me, but to protect. To protect both me and the child in the photo. I sat there in the quiet study, holding the red-stained letter and the hidden photograph. The weight of her life, her struggles, and her love pressed down on me. I realized then that I had only just begun to understand her heart, the part she had never shared while she was alive. And yet, even in her secrecy, even in the hidden pains, her love had always been clear, always patient, always unwavering. I whispered her name softly, letting the tears fall freely. I see you now and I understand. The next letters would reveal more about this hidden chapter of her life, the person she had protected, and the choices she had made out of love. But for now, I sat quietly, holding her words, her photo, and the proof that even in death, her heart was still guiding mine. I held the photo carefully in my hands, as if it were the most fragile thing in the world. Her fingers, so gentle and sure in my memory, had folded it and hidden it away for years. I traced the edges, feeling the texture of the paper, and my eyes focused on the little girl holding her hand. I did not recognize her at first. She looked happy, innocent, completely unaware of the complexity of the world around her. And yet, looking at her, I sensed that she was deeply important, so important that my wife had chosen to hide this from me. My chest tightened. Who was she? Why had my wife kept her existence a secret? I picked up the letter again, scanning the words more carefully this time. There, written almost at the bottom, was a line I had missed before. I have loved someone quietly, someone who needed me. I kept it hidden, not because I wanted secrets between us, but because I wanted to protect you in them. I felt a lump in my throat. A quiet love? For someone else? Not in the way I had feared, but in the way only she could love, selflessly, carefully, with complete devotion. I reread the letter slowly, letting each word sink in. She had been protecting this child, helping her without recognition, shielding her from difficulties. I could never imagine. She had carried this responsibility alone, choosing secrecy because she valued both our love and the child's well-being above everything else. I wish you could have met her, she wrote. I wanted to so many times, but I knew it was not the right time. Please know that my heart has always belonged to you, even in these moments of hidden care. Tears filled my eyes. My wife had not only loved me with all her heart, but she had also extended that love quietly to another life. And she had done so without ever asking for recognition or reward. I studied the photo again. The little girl looked familiar in some ways, like a reflection of my wife's kindness and warmth. I could imagine her laughter, her questions, the way she would look up at my wife with trust and admiration. Suddenly, The red stain on the letter made sense. It wasn't meant to alarm. It was meant to mark importance, to highlight a chapter of her life that carried both love and quiet pain. She had known this would be the hardest part for me to understand, and yet she left it for me to discover. I felt a rush of emotions: surprise, sorrow, awe, and profound admiration. I realized just how much she had done, silently, without ever burdening me with the details. I could feel her presence in the room, calm, gentle, patient, waiting for me to understand. I picked up the next letter. Its edges were soft, and her handwriting almost seemed to glow with care. She explained more about the child, describing the circumstances that had brought her into their lives. She needed help, my wife wrote. No one else could have provided it at the time. I could not tell you, not because I doubted your love, but because I feared it would complicate your world and distract from the life we built together. I could feel the weight of her choices. Every decision she made, even the ones I had never known about, had been guided by love. Not just for me, but for everyone she touched. I wanted to do the right thing, she continued, even if it meant carrying this burden alone, even if it meant keeping this secret from you. I sat quietly, holding her letters and the photograph, realizing that her life had been far more complex, far deeper than I had ever imagined. She had woven her love into our home, our life, our memories, and yet she had also quietly extended it to someone else in need. The thought made my chest ache with both sorrow and pride. Sorrow, because she had carried this alone. Pride, because her heart was so vast, so selfless, so utterly devoted. I could imagine the moments she had spent with the little girl, moments of teaching, comforting, laughing, and holding her hand through fear and uncertainty. Those moments had been hidden from me, yet they were part of the same love that had filled our home for years. Her words became more reflective as I continued reading. I hope you can forgive me for keeping this from you. It was never a matter of trust or love. I wanted to protect the life we shared, and I wanted to protect her as well. My silence was a choice, made with the purest intentions. I realized then that I had misunderstood the meaning of secrecy. It was not deception, it was love. A love so deep that it required patience, humility, and courage. She had chosen to bear the weight of her secret alone, trusting that one day I would understand. The photograph seemed to radiate warmth. I could almost feel her hand reaching out to comfort the little girl, just as she had always comforted me. The connection between them was unmistakable, and yet the letters made it clear. Her heart had never wavered from the life we built together. I whispered softly, tears streaming down my face. I understand now, all of it. I see your heart, and I see her love too. I sat there for a long time, holding the letters and the photograph, letting the weight of her life sink in. She had given so much, silently, selflessly, and without asking for anything in return. And in that moment, I felt a closeness to her that I had not felt since her passing. A connection that went beyond grief, beyond memory. It was her love, alive and persistent, guiding me even now. The letters had revealed a hidden chapter of her life. Yes, but they had also revealed the depth of her soul. She had been brave, kind, and utterly devoted. And now, I could finally see the fullness of who she was. The next letters would bring even more understanding, reflections on her choices, and the lessons she had hoped I would carry forward. But for now, I held the photograph and the red-stained letter close, letting the quiet of the study surround me. Her presence felt strong, her love undeniable, and her courage a lesson I would never forget. I set the photograph down gently and reached for the next letter. My hands were trembling, but I felt ready. Ready to hear her final words, ready to understand why she had carried so much alone. The letter began with familiar warmth. Her handwriting, neat and deliberate, seemed to speak directly to my heart. My love, if you are reading this, it means you have found all that I hid. I hope you can forgive me for keeping things from you. I did not do it out of mistrust or distance. I did it out of love. Tears streamed down my face as I held the paper. She had always had a way with words, a way of expressing herself that made even the simplest sentence feel profound. I could feel the weight of her words. Every choice she had made, every secret she had kept, had been to protect me, to protect the people she cared for, and to protect the life we had built together. She wrote about her fears, her worries, and the times she had felt weak. But alongside these admissions, there was always a thread of love, of devotion, and of hope. I wanted to shield you from my pain, just as I hoped to shield the little girl in the photograph from the world's harshness. I did not want either of you to carry burdens that were not yours to bear. I understood then that she had been carrying more than secrets. She had been carrying love. Love heavy with responsibility. Love patient enough to remain silent. Love brave enough to endure alone. I folded the letter and held it close. My heart ached, but it was not a pain of anger or confusion. It was a pain of gratitude, a deep, bittersweet awareness of all she had done for me and for others. Please understand, she continued, that my silence was never a measure of my love for you. It was a choice made with care, thought, and devotion. I hoped that one day you would see it as I intended. I closed my eyes. I could hear her voice in my mind, the soft, calm cadence that had always brought me comfort. I could almost feel her hand resting on mine, steady and reassuring. Forgive me for the secrets, she wrote. Forgive me for the burdens I carried alone. And know that my love for you was always unwavering, even in the quietest moments. I whispered her name softly, feeling the tears fall freely. I forgive you. I understand now. I always will. There was a peace in that moment, a quiet resolution that filled the room. The study no longer felt empty. It felt alive with her presence, her love, and her care. I picked up the final letters, reading each one slowly, savoring every word. She spoke of memories, of laughter, of ordinary days made extraordinary simply because we shared them. She spoke of the future she had dreamed for us, even though she could not be there to see it. Remember the little things, she wrote. The quiet mornings, the shared tea, the laughter in the kitchen. These are the things that matter. These are the moments that build a life, a love, and a home. Her words were simple, yet profound. They reminded me that love is not always grand gestures or dramatic declarations. Sometimes it is quiet, steady, and patient. Sometimes it is carried in small moments, remembered in whispers, and shared through the heart rather than the lips. I understood then why she had kept her secrets, not to deceive me, but to preserve the life we shared, to protect those she loved, and to teach me the quiet strength of selfless love. I folded the letters carefully, placing them back in the drawer where I had found them. They were treasures, not just of memory, but of understanding. They were her heart, speaking to me one last time. And in that silence, I felt something I had not felt in months: closure. Not the finality of death, but the completeness of love. You have always been my home, she wrote in the last letter. Even when I could not be with you, I lived in your heart, and I hope you carry me there too. I could feel her words wrapping around me like a warm embrace. I could see her smile, hear her laughter, and feel the depth of her love in every fiber of my being. I realized then that forgiveness was not just for her, it was for me. Forgiveness allowed me to release the sorrow, the longing, and the confusion, replacing it with understanding, gratitude, and peace. I whispered into the quiet room, I forgive you, and I thank you for everything. The house felt different after that. The air seemed lighter, the sunlight warmer, and the memories of her no longer heavy, but comforting. I could walk through each room and remember her with love, not with sorrow. Her letters had done more than reveal secrets. They had healed, guided, and comforted me. They reminded me of the strength of her love, the quiet courage of her heart, and the depth of devotion that had shaped our lives together. Even though she was gone, she was still teaching me that love sometimes carries burdens silently, that courage can be quiet, and that understanding often comes long after the moments have passed. I held the letters close one final time, letting the silence of the study fill me with calm. I felt her presence, steady, patient, unwavering. And I knew, without a doubt, that the love she had left behind was not gone. It was living in me, in the memories, in the quiet moments, and in the lessons she had entrusted me to carry forward. "Thank you," I whispered softly, "for your love, your courage, your secrets, and your heart. I understand, and I will carry it with me, always." The study was quiet, but it no longer felt empty. I sat in the same chair I had occupied for hours, surrounded by her letters and the photograph that had revealed so much. The weight of her secrets was gone now, replaced by understanding and love. I took a deep breath and let my mind wander over the life we had shared. The small, ordinary moments now seemed extraordinary. The mornings with tea, the laughter in the kitchen, the quiet evenings by the window. All of it was a testament to her love. She had lived a life of quiet courage. Even in the moments I had never seen, she had carried love, care, and responsibility. Even in her secrets, she had been selfless. And even in death, she had guided me to understand the fullness of her heart. I thought of the little girl in the photograph, the person she had cared for so quietly. My wife had taken a risk, a responsibility, to extend her love beyond what anyone else could see. She had done it without recognition, without reward, simply because it was the right thing to do. And in doing so, she had taught me something profound, that love is not measured by visibility, but by devotion, patience, and sacrifice. I picked up the red-stained letter one final time. The stain, once a source of fear and suspense, now seemed like a symbol of her heart, of the hidden weight she carried, and of the love that had guided every choice she made. Even in silence, I whispered, "Your love spoke louder than words ever could." I placed the letters and the photograph back in the drawer, closing it gently. They were treasures, not just of memory, but of wisdom. They would stay there, hidden from the world, but alive for me whenever I needed to feel her presence. Walking through the house, I could feel her everywhere. In the sunlight filtering through the curtains, in the faint scent of her perfume, in the little notes she had left behind. She had shaped this home with love, care, and attention to the smallest details. And now, understanding her secrets made every corner feel warmer, fuller, and more alive. I paused by the kitchen window, looking out at the garden we had tended together. The daisies she had loved were blooming. The sunlight danced across the petals, and for a moment, it felt as if she were standing there beside me, smiling softly. I realized then that life was not about holding on to grief, but about cherishing the love we had received. My wife's letters had given me closure, yes, but more importantly, they had given me understanding. I thought back to the red-stained letter, the hidden photograph, and the child she had protected. I understood her choices now, and I felt a deep gratitude for her courage, her selflessness, and her love. She had left me not just memories, but lessons. Lessons about patience, sacrifice, and the quiet strength of a loving heart. Lessons about forgiveness, understanding, and the power of seeing beyond the obvious. I smiled softly, tears falling freely. "I understand, my love," I whispered into the quiet room. "I see everything now, and I will carry your heart with me." For the first time since her passing, I felt peace. Not the absence of sorrow, but the presence of understanding, the warmth of memory, and the quiet knowledge that her love would always guide me. Her letters had been a bridge between the past and the present, between grief and acceptance. They had taken me through fear, surprise, curiosity, and awe, and ultimately to forgiveness and understanding. I walked slowly through the house, pausing at each familiar corner. Each memory now carried her love, her laughter, her kindness, and her courage. I realized that even though she was gone, she was never truly absent. Her heart lived on in these walls, in the memories, and in the lessons she had entrusted me to carry forward. Sitting by the window again, I looked at the garden and whispered softly, "Thank you for your love, your patience, your courage, and your heart. I understand now, and I will carry it with me, always." I felt her presence, calm and unwavering, like a gentle hand resting on my shoulder. And in that moment, I understood the full depth of her love, the love that had shaped our life together, guided my heart, and taught me to see beyond the surface of things. Life would continue. I would move forward, carrying her memory and her lessons. But I would also remember the quiet strength she had shown, the love she had given freely, and the courage it had taken to carry secrets for the sake of those she loved. And in doing so, I found peace. Not a loud, obvious peace, not a sudden resolution, but a quiet, steady understanding that love, true, patient, selfless love, never really leaves us. It lingers in the heart, in the memories, in the lessons we carry forward. And as I sat there, holding the warmth of her love in my chest, I realized something I had never truly known. Love is not just what we see or what we are told. Love is what endures. Love is what protects, guides, and heals, even in silence. Her letters, her secrets, her courage, they were all proof of that. And I smiled, knowing that though she was gone, her heart would always be with me, and that the life we shared, the love we built, and the lessons she left behind would stay with me forever. Thank you, my love, I whispered one final time. For everything. The house was quiet again, but this time it was not empty. It was filled with her love, her courage, and the enduring warmth of a heart that had given everything for the people she loved. And I knew, in the deepest part of me, that her love would always be my guide, my comfort, and my home.